Once again, Jos, Plateau State, parts of Benue State are in the news again, in spite of government's intervention and avoid orders to the security agencies to take action. In the last few days, we've been receiving reports about attacks, displacements, and killings in Benue and Plateau State. With me to talk about the current things that have been happening is Mark Lipdo, the founder and chief executive of the Stefanos Foundation, which is based in Jos, and a group that has been working on peace building and Christian persecution in Nigeria. Mark, you are welcome to this discussion.
Thank you very much.
I saw a report that you circulated a few minutes ago about renewed killings. What is actually happening?
Well, yes, we have decided at Stefanos Foundation to bring to the notice of Nigerians things that we know that are happening in Nigeria that have not been able to reach many people. And as usual, so Stefanos Foundation gathers the information through our volunteers who are in 774 local governments of this country, who put their ears on ground to find out when things happen in their locality to report to us headquarters. That's how we begin to put together this report on weekly basis and bring to the notice of Nigerians. And perhaps it will also be able to fall in the ears of the government, who probably are thinking like other Nigerians and are not taking the steps in the right direction. So we are hoping that it will help the government to understand that it is still not over. So we have just...
So what is happening? What is contained in the latest reports? You said this thing. What is the latest situation?
Yes. So currently we have reported evidences of attack in several states of Nigeria, particularly in the Middle Belt. We have recorded in the past week attacks that happened in Plateau State. Attacks have also happened in Benue. Attacks have happened in Niger. Attacks have happened in between the borders of Benue and Nasarawa State. And most of these places, all of these informations have gone without being taken note of. And so we gather them together and put them at the end of every week. And that's the report we just released now.
I can see that you have about quite a number of states that are listed here. Let's start from Plateau State. In the last 1 week, you reported attacks in several communities. What are the highlights of these attacks or these issues in Plateau State?
In Plateau State specifically, attacks have been concentrated around Bokkos. Bokkos, as you are aware, in the wake of 24th December 2023, came under a very alarming attack. And over 20 communities in Bokkos local government alone were attacked. Some communities in Barakinladi, which is on the border with Bokkos, were also attacked. And on the border with Mangu, also came under attack. And we recorded over 40 communities in 3 local governments that were attacked at that time of the eve of Christmas. So we heard the government took the step to send security men on the ground to try to cope these situations. Unfortunately, when we thought that the security men are on the ground, all of these communities have continuously been attacked, and most of their communities have been sacked, and people are currently in some kind of IDP camps and are not being given attention at all. So it is.
So what actually happened in the last 1 week?
Yes, in the last 1 week.
And in which communities?
Yes, we have recorded attack in Kwatas community that started on the 25th of May a local pastor was killed and 2 other people were injured in that attack. Kompur was also attacked, and Mushere, that Kompur is under Mushere chiefdom, and it was attacked on the 25th as well. 7 people were killed in that attack. A boy was ambushed around Butura, and he was also attacked. He was 18 years of age, and he was killed. There was also an attack launched on the Kompur. I think I've mentioned that. But this time again, they came back on the 27th. When they carried out an attack on 25th, they still come back again on the 27th to carry out another attack that killed 7 people. So continuously, we see that location of Bokkos has continuously been engaged into continuous attack. And we're concerned, what are the security men doing on ground? So 6 instances of this violence was recorded just within this time from 25th to 28th. And we recorded that in Plateau State.
Now, if we move over to Benue State.
Yes.
Yeah, you mentioned that some things. What were the things that happened in Benue State?
Yeah, we know that recently Benue State around Gwer West and Gwer East have been engaged by the marauders under attack for some reasons. And many communities have been sacked from that area. And it is becoming the norm that when people are even moving, traveling, they are being stopped and kidnapped. And so we see continuous attack there. We heard of the priest of the Catholic Church, Reverend Father Solomon, I think Atongo. He was shot and injured, and 2 people in that location were kidnapped and taken. Up to now, we've not heard anything about them. That was on the 23rd. So you see 2 states now from 23rd to 28th have been engaged. It started with Benue, and then they moved into Plateau. And so we see that on the 23rd, that started 24th, around did some of the pronunciation. I can't pronounce some of the names. It says Obiam also was also attacked on Saturday 24th. And then on the 25th, the same attackers went to the same location around Ise, Obian, and they carried out another attack in that location. So it has become the normal thing. They also killed five people around Otumba community on Sunday. That was the day after the attack around Obian. So many situations have happened in Benue, and the security people have not controlled that. And we see that when they attack Plateau State, for a while attention is given there. Then it looks like they move into Benue and they carried out the attack. So we think in Plateau that it's calmed down. And then they come back again to Plateau State. So within the same month, we see that these 2 states have been engaged continuously. Other states also that have been engaged and affected.
Okay, you mentioned Benue Nasarawa boundary.
That's
what actually happened there.
Yes, in Nasarawa, it touched some Nasarawa state communities as well. We see that on the 26th of May, after the attack around Say, they also moved into Nasarawa border, close to Benue there, and they attacked a community there called, I have to get the name correct, Gangu. Pardon my pronunciation. Gangu settlement. And they carry out the attack. That is in between Obi local government area and the border around Benue there. So
Okay.
we also have intelligence. The thing is that when we get some of this information, we also have intelligence information that comes from the communities that we make public as well, so that it will help the security men to give attention in those locations. Unfortunately, even when you publish some of this information, even when you push it to the DSS, you don't see any action on the ground until
Are you saying that you give information about impending attacks to the
yes,
security agencies?
yes, because like the attack that happened around Yubo and Opam, we informed the security men about it, about the intended attack, but then it still happened, and people were killed there as well. So we keep giving information and give intelligence with our report, hoping that the security men will give attention in those areas. Unfortunately, they still carry them out.
Okay, let's move over to Kebbi State in the northwest. You
Yeah.
also have a report there that some villages
Mm.
in one local government were attacked, about 6 villages.
Yeah, starting from May 8th, I think their own those areas came under attack earlier. So if you want to look at the history from the early stage, the middle belt areas of north central, middle belt area that is within the north central, and then the northwest were also affected, like Kebbi, like you're talking about. So their own came earlier. They started from that area with Niger as well. So on the 8th, some communities were attacked. About 60 people were killed in Waje and in Salong Damisa, Salong Damisa Daji. People were killed, about 60 people. And some communities there like Mekaswa, Dajinkanya, and Geva and Rimai community. All of those areas were involved in the attack, or they were all attacked, and over 60 people were recorded killed in that attack. But it didn't.
Is that different from what happened around Zungeru? Because you also reported that something happened in Zungeru
Zingeru,
area.
yes, around.
Sorry, no, Zaga Zaga
Yeah,
community
yeah,
in Chibani and Kuch communities in Munya
Munya,
local government area.
yes. Is that the Niger state you are reading about, or
Yes,
that?
Niger State.
Yes,
Number 7 on your list.
yes, you are recalling the Niger. So you see, from Kebbi, we came down to Niger, where on the 27th. So if you remember, Plateau State was also under attack from 25th to 28th, and then from Benue, some part of Benue from 23rd to now. And now we are seeing 27th, Niger is being attacked. And of course, Taraba, some part of Taraba were also attacked. So selectively, you see that some middle belt states have been engaged this month alone. And a lot of people have been killed. I think we put together over 50 people were killed in just this 1 month. In fact, just this week that we recorded. And then some part of Zamfara were also affected. And many people also, 4 people were killed in that place and 28 others were abducted. So these are informations that are there public. People can go on our Facebook and see them. We also
Yeah,
see,
of course. I see that you also mentioned what happened in Taraba State,
yeah,
which a number of people were killed in Karin Lamido local government area. Now, let me ask you a general question. Do
yeah.
you see a trend? Do you see a connection between these attacks or these attacks, or you think that they are just things that happen within those communities and have no connections with each other?
of course, this thing has lingered with us for a very long time, for someone never to be left in doubt about how they have happened. If I'm to give the background history, from our perspective as an organization that is there for the persecution of Christians, you will recall that earlier, this attack came with marginalization of Christians in northern Nigeria and selective attack on Christians, especially when there was a post-presidential election in 2011. So many Christians suffered attack in northern Nigeria, and we recorded that. These attacks have not ceased. Way back when it started in 2001 in Jos, and we have been 22 years, 23 years now, we've been recording these attacks. So yes, it will come down like it's not happening, but then it will continue again. And we recall that it was a persecution on Christians. And at the moment, even the Muslims who do not buy the ideology are not left out. And so it has gone beyond just persecution of Christians. It has involved even ethnic people who do not or are not seen to be true Muslims. They are selectively attacked and displaced within their communities. And so this is
Is there any evidence, Mark, that these are selective attacks on Christian communities?
Yes, we can say, you may say Christian communities because most of these communities are non-Muslims. So we know that it started with demand for Sharia, and 12 states in northern Nigeria inaugurated Sharia. And as an organization, we raised an alarm. How can you integrate Sharia in a state where there are more non-Muslims? What will be the plight of those non-Muslims within those states? Sharia is a law that is supposed to rule over the lives of Muslims strictly. Now, integrating Sharia as a state Sharia contravenes the constitution that brings people together to live together, because not everybody under Sharia are Muslims. So how are you going to rule over the people by bringing Sharia and under the existence of a constitution that brought these people together? So our plight, our cry was the plight of the ethnic non-Muslim religion and non-Muslim communities that are there. Not all of them are necessarily Christians. There are some of them that are still enemies today, but they have been selectively attacked, and we see those communities continuously people being killed in those communities. Remember that.
Yeah, it's still on this issue. Before you move on, yeah, any people listening to me, listening to us, will still ask this question. Those communities that have been attacked, are you suggesting that there are no Muslims living within them?
The question is, what is the quest of all the attacks? What is their aim? And I remind you that there was a demand for Sharia in 1999 to rule over this country. Has that demand stopped? There was an agitation by 12 northern states that inaugurated Sharia. How far has that gone? We had Boko Haram rose up from the northeast demanding for Sharia. Have that stopped? The international community designated Boko Haram as a terrorist group and are fighting them. And they enabled Nigerian government to fight terrorists, the Boko Haram in the northeast. How successful have that war become? So to us, right from the beginning, the cry for Sharia has brought about all these attacks and is going from one strategy to another. They started with Christians. Now they are going with ethnic, they are covering ethnic non-Muslim communities. And we recorded over 673 of these tribal non-Muslim communities in 19 northern states alone. There are a lot of non-Muslim ethnic communities that are embedded in those 19 northern states. But nobody has said anything about their plight. And when we heard that there was a Muslim campaign going on in the last election, many of those ethnic non-Muslims in northern Nigeria who felt that it was their turn to bring out a presidential candidate, they felt marginalized. Now, this is the plight of non-Muslims in northern Nigeria. Their situation doesn't matter. And because of the persecution that we believe, their cry has fallen on deaf ear right from that time. They are not allowed to build churches. They are not allowed to teach their children the values of Christianity in their schools. And they are the ones that have been targeted with the violence of Boko Haram and now ISWAP that are spreading. So today, if you see the battle in our report, the Nigerian government have engaged the terrorists in far northern states. There are battles in Zamfara. There are battles on Boko Haram in Marte and other areas. But those groups are regrouping and attacking even the Nigerian soldiers. But the strategy, the reality of these things have not been analyzed by Nigerians just because we are divided in different fronts. And unless Nigerians become proud of their own country and come together and look clearly about what is happening to them, we will not be able to understand. Our cry is that someday Nigerians will get to understand that gradually something is eating up and they need to stand up as a people.
Okay, now as we run up, I want to ask you this question again. We have heard, you have explained about the intent of these groups, but the questions that people out there will want to know, isn't this just one, the fact that there's general insecurity in Nigeria? Where will you insist that it is because of religious persecution?
What do we mean by general insecurity? Society doesn't just fall insecure. There are factors underneath. What has started our insecurity, the history of our insecurity in Nigeria, is ideology. The ideology of violence. The call for Sharia that has called for insurgent groups to fight a religious war is a real analysis of this insecurity. But Nigerians don't want to address it as such. So if you want to treat a sickness and you diagnose it wrongly, how will the person be well? So Nigeria will continue to be sick until we diagnose the real underlying situation correctly. The religious ideology, extremist religious ideology, is the reason behind the insecurity in Nigeria. And it has to be addressed as such.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Mark Lipdo.
Thank you.
I hope I got the name correctly pronounced.
Lipdo.
I'll call you again next week so that when your report is up, so that we talk about it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
Yes. We've been speaking the last few minutes with Mark Lipdo of the Stefanos Foundation. And we'll be talking more with him. We'd like you to, if you want to read more of the reports that his organization has issued, you should check the description on the video. You will see a link to the publications that he's been making. Thank you very much for coming again.
Thank you.